A Senate hearing gets underway in Canberra today over a push to legalise nuclear energy. It's National Senator Matt Canavan's bill. Matt joins us now. Matt, good morning to you. So you've got a government firmly opposed to nuclear. Realistically, where does this bill lead?
Well, we just keep up the fight here, Peter, and I do think the mood is shifting on nuclear energy and shifting quite quickly. Young people in particular in our country are open to this discussion because they don't have the hang-ups of the Cold War warriors of Anthony Albanese and Chris Bowen, who are still out there running ridiculous scare campaigns that better suited to the Simpsons than a proper policy debate. We clearly have a need for reliable power that can stay on all the time. Many among us want to see that power be zero emission or very low emission. And nuclear energy ticks all those boxes. Yeah. We have the world's largest uranium reserves. We're about the only country in the world that bans nuclear energy, and all my bill does is say remove that ban, let people bring these ideas forward, and we can properly consider and regulate them and get a framework set up so that if future Australians want to do nuclear energy in 5-10 years' time, we're not starting from scratch.
Well, okay, because that's my next point, because what box it doesn't tick is cost, because you're effectively starting from scratch here if you want to get nuclear up and running again. So in that way, it becomes a very expensive form of energy. So how do you sell that?
Well, I think we're in the world now, Peter, of compared to what? Look, I've tried to bang my head against the wall to build coal-fired power stations. They're the ones that are most affordable and cheap. That's why China's building 2 coal-fired power stations a week, but not hopeful that will happen anytime soon. The current model we're going down, the government gave $2 billion to hydrogen. If you think nuclear is expensive, wait till I run you through the numbers on hydrogen. Hydrogen's a good 6 to 8 times more expensive than natural gas, and there's no way nuclear would be a lot cheaper than that. So that's one option. Another option is we build trillions of dollars of batteries all around the country. Ridiculous expense, and also a massive environmental cost as well, and all of those minerals having to be mined for them. Nuclear energy is a higher cost than, as I say, coal or in some forms of gas. But it's a reliable one, and it's one we know that works, so we shouldn't take it off the table.
Right, so say this goes ahead. Where do you want to install the reactors, and where do you put the waste?
Well, on that first point, I think the most logical location is where the coal-fired power stations are. They're being shut down. Those communities are used to heavy power and often have heavy industry close by those coal-fired power stations, so it would make sense to build the power stations there. They also have extensive transmission links, so we wouldn't have that extra cost that we have of renewable energy with transmission lines having to crisscross through farmland across our country. That makes a lot of sense. I know where I'm from in central Queensland, a nuclear power station would be welcomed in Gladstone. We get to keep our jobs, keep our manufacturing industry. That's the place to do it. And then on the waste, well, look, that's kind of been solved now, Peter. We're getting these nuclear subs. And as part of the AUKUS deal, we have to process and house the high-level radioactive waste here in Australia. So we will have a waste facility here to do that. There's very little waste from nuclear energy, so that could easily be co-located. In fact, there'd be efficiencies from having nuclear energy in that. And when now Chris Bowen runs around and starts warning ridiculous warnings about the terrible impact of radioactive waste, I mean, you do have to ask the question, is Chris Bowen a double agent for the CCP? Because he is undermining the AUKUS deal through these ridiculous arguments. He's saying high-level radioactive waste is more toxic than fentanyl. Well, if that's the case, why has his own government just signed up to a national security deal which would require us to generate, store and manage high-level radioactive waste?
All right, Matt Canavan, we will leave it there. Talk to you soon.